heart of a faraway land called Dream Haven, where the sky was always a swirl of lavender and gold, nestled a small, quiet village. The houses were built like patchwork quilts, with walls made of colourful tiles that shimmered faintly under the moonlight. At the edge of the village stood an ancient, crumbling workshop, long abandoned and cloaked in mystery. Its crooked windows were dark, and its doors were sealed shut with a twisted vine of ivy. No one could remember who had last lived there, though whispers spoke of the Dream Collector, a figure of legend who had vanished long ago. The Dream Collector, as the stories went, had once been a guardian of dreams, capturing the most wondrous and imaginative ones in glass jars. The jars, it was said, sparkled like the stars themselves and contained dreams that could whisk you away to enchanted forests, underwater kingdoms, or even distant galaxies. Over time, however, the workshop fell silent, its secrets lost to time. In this magical land lived two best friends, Ilara and Finn. Ilara was an inquisitive girl with curly, copper-coloured hair that always seemed to have bits of leaves and twigs tangled in it. Her sparkling green eyes mirrored the curiosity in her heart, and she was known for her knack for solving riddles and puzzles. Finn, on the other hand, was a cautious but imaginative boy with sandy blonde hair and a satchel that never left his side. Inside, he carried sketchbooks where he drew everything from fire-breathing dragons to castles perched on floating islands. One lazy summer afternoon, the two friends lounged under a massive willow tree on the outskirts of the village. Sunlight filtered through its drooping branches, creating dappled patterns on the grass. "Do you think the Dream Collector was real?" Finn asked, shading his eyes with a hand as he gazed at the distant workshop. Ilara shrugged, her gaze fixed on the crumbling building. "Why not? Every story has some truth in it, right? Maybe we should find out." Finn sat up, his brows furrowed. "You mean, go inside? What if it's cursed?" Ilara grinned mischievously. "Cursed or magical? Either way, it'll be an adventure." Despite his hesitation, Finn found himself agreeing, as he always did when Ilara's excitement bubbled over. Together, they set off toward the workshop, the whispering breeze carrying the faint scent of honeysuckle. The closer they got, the more peculiar the air seemed to grow. The ivy surrounding the door appeared to shimmer faintly, and the ground beneath their feet felt softer, almost spongy, as though the earth itself were holding its breath. Ilara reached out to touch the ivy-covered door, and to their astonishment, the vines recoiled like startled snakes, revealing a beautifully carved wooden surface. "See? Not cursed," Ilara said with a smirk. Finn didn't look convinced. "Or the curse just hasn't started yet." They pushed open the door, which groaned on its hinges, and stepped inside. The air was cool and tinged with the scent of lavender and parchment. Moonlight filtered through cracked windows, illuminating rows upon rows of shelves. Each shelf was lined with glass jars of various shapes and sizes, their surfaces frosted with a soft glow. Inside, tiny lights flickered like fireflies caught in a delicate dance. "Are those dreams?" Finn whispered, his voice filled with wonder. Ilara nodded, wide-eyed. "It must be." They wandered deeper into the workshop, their footsteps muffled by a thick layer of dust. On a central workbench lay an open book, its pages filled with elegant handwriting and sketches of fantastical creatures and swirling galaxies. Beside the book was an odd contraption made of brass and crystal, its purpose a mystery. "Look at this," Ilara said, picking up a jar that shimmered with a faint blue glow. As she turned it in her hands, the glow seemed to pulse, as though alive. Finn moved closer, peering at the jar. "Be careful. We don't know what could happen." Ilara rolled her eyes. "It's just a jar. What's the worst?" Before she could finish, her fingers slipped. The jar tumbled from her hands, shattering on the floor with a crystalline chime. A burst of shimmering blue mist swirled up and filled the room, spiraling faster and faster until it coalesced into a mischievous-looking wisp with bright, glowing eyes. "Well, well," the wisp said in a voice like a tinkling bell. "What do we have here? Visitors in my little slumber prison? Oh, this is going to be fun." The wisp cackled, darting around the room before zipping through an open window and disappearing into the twilight. Ilara and Finn stared after it, their mouths agape. "We've just made a huge mistake, haven't we?" Finn said, his voice barely above a whisper. Ilara nodded slowly. "A huge mistake, but also the start of a big adventure." The mischievous dream wisp zipped into the night sky, leaving a trail of sparkling blue mist behind it. Ilara and Finn stood frozen, their eyes wide with shock. The workshop, once still and quiet, now seemed alive with an unsettling energy. The remaining jars on the shelves glimmered faintly, their contents flickering as though disturbed by the wisp's escape. "What just happened?" Finn finally managed to say, his voice trembling. "I think we set it free," Ilara replied, guilt creeping into her tone. She glanced at the shattered jar on the floor, its pieces gleaming faintly in the dim light. Finn paced back and forth, clutching his satchel tightly. "This is bad, really bad. That thing could be dangerous. We have no idea what it can do." Ilara picked up a shard of the broken jar, studying it closely. It was warm to the touch and tiny sparks danced across its surface. "It said it was trapped here," she murmured. "Maybe it's not dangerous. Maybe it just wants to be free." Finn stopped pacing and stared at her. "Did that thing sound harmless to you? It laughed like it was about to play the biggest prank in the world." Ilara couldn't argue with that. The wisp's cackling had sent shivers down her spine. She placed the shard back on the workbench and turned to Finn. "We need to figure out what it is and what it might do. This workshop has to have answers." The two began searching the room, carefully examining the shelves, the jars, and the scattered notes and sketches. Finn found a stack of dusty blueprints rolled up in a corner, detailing various dream-related inventions. Ilara flipped through the large book on the workbench, her eyes scanning the elegant script. "Listen to this," Ilara said, pointing to a passage in the book. "The mischievous dreams, though rare, are the most unpredictable. They can cause chaos, twist reality, and disrupt the balance of the dream world. If released, they must be captured swiftly to prevent widespread turmoil." Finn groaned. "That's exactly what I was afraid of. We've unleashed chaos." Ilara's finger trailed down the page. "To capture a mischievous dream, one must use the dream net, a device woven with threads of starlight and moonbeam. It is the only tool strong enough to contain their erratic energy." Finn perked up. "A dream net? Did you see anything like that in here?" They searched frantically, pulling open drawers and peering behind stacks of dusty books. At last, Ilara found a strange object tucked into a cabinet. It looked like a fishing net, but its threads shimmered with an otherworldly light, as if they had been plucked straight from the night sky. "Found it!" Ilara exclaimed, holding up the dream net triumphantly. Finn examined it skeptically. Are you sure that's going to work? It looks Fragile? It's made of starlight and moonbeam, Ilara reminded him. That doesn't sound fragile to me. Before they could debate further, a distant, high-pitched laugh echoed through the night. They rushed to the window and saw the wisp darting around the village square, leaving a trail of blue mist that made the cobblestones shimmer. "Oh no," Finn said, his voice barely above a whisper. The wisp was causing havoc. As it flitted from one house to another, dreams began spilling into the waking world. In one yard, a flock of tiny glowing sheep pranced around, their wool sparkling like diamonds. A nearby fountain overflowed with what appeared to be liquid gold, and a tree sprouted enormous candy canes instead of branches. "This is worse than I thought," Ilara said, gripping the dream net tightly. Finn tugged at her sleeve. "We need to stop it before it gets to the rest of the village." The two raced outside, the cool night air buzzing with strange energy. The wisp zipped through the square, giggling wildly as it knocked over a stack of barrels, which promptly transformed into colourful, bouncing balls. Villagers peeked out from their windows, their faces a mix of awe and alarm. Ilara and Finn chased after the wisp, but it was too fast, darting in and out of their reach like a mischievous firefly. "We need to trap it somehow," Finn shouted, panting as he tried to keep up. Ilara stopped suddenly, her mind racing. "We can't catch it while it's flying around like that. We need to lure it somewhere." "Lure it? With what?" Finn asked, looking around frantically. Ilara glanced at the glowing sheep still frolicking in the square. "Dreams attract dreams, right? What if we use one of these to bait it?" Finn hesitated but nodded. "It's worth a try. But how do we get one of those sheep?" The two approached the flock cautiously. The sheep didn't seem afraid of them, their glowing forms pulsating gently in the moonlight. Ilara extended her hand toward the smallest sheep, which blinked up at her with wide, sparkling eyes. "Come on, little one," she whispered. "We just need your help for a moment." To their surprise, the sheep trotted over to Ilara willingly, its soft glow illuminating her face. She scooped it up gently and turned to Finn. "Let's lead it toward the old windmill. There's plenty of space there to set a trap." Finn agreed, and the two made their way toward the windmill, the sheep's glow lighting their path. The wisp noticed them almost immediately, its eyes gleaming with curiosity. It began to follow, darting closer and closer to the glowing sheep. "We've got its attention," Finn whispered. "Now what?" When they reached the windmill, Ilara quickly tied the dream net to a wooden beam, creating a makeshift snare. "We'll lure it inside and spring the trap," she explained. The wisp followed them into the windmill, its laughter echoing eerily in the empty space. It hovered just above the sheep, its glowing eyes fixed on the tiny creature. "Now!" Ilara shouted, pulling the net's cord. The dream net sprang to life, its shimmering threads glowing brighter as they closed around the wisp. For a moment, it seemed to work. The wisp was caught, its glowing form wriggling within the net. But then the wisp's laughter grew louder, and with a burst of blue light, it wriggled free, darting out of the windmill and into the night. "No!" Finn cried, his shoulders slumping. Ilara's face hardened with determination. "We can't give up. The book said the dream net is the only way to catch it. We just need to figure out how to use it properly." Finn nodded reluctantly. "Then we'd better hurry before it causes even more trouble." As they stepped out of the windmill, they noticed the trail of blue mist leading toward the forest. The wisp was heading deeper into Dreamhaven, toward places unknown. Ilara tightened her grip on the dream net. "This isn't over. We're going to catch it, no matter what." With that, the two friends set off into the forest, the glow of the dream sheep lighting their way. They didn't know what challenges lay ahead, but they were determined to set things right before the wisp's mischief spiraled out of control. Ilara and Finn trudged into the forest, the faint glow of the dream sheep lighting their path. The air was thick with the scent of moss and wildflowers, and the trees seemed to lean closer together the farther they went, forming a canopy that shrouded the moonlight. The wisp trail of blue mist swirled ahead of them like a mischievous ribbon, twisting and turning unpredictably through the dense woods. "Where do you think it's going?" Finn asked, his voice hushed as if the forest itself were listening. Ilara glanced ahead, her eyes scanning the path for any clues. "I'm not sure, but the book said mischievous dreams can disrupt the balance of the dream world. Maybe it's heading somewhere important, or somewhere dangerous." The dream sheep bleated softly in her arms, its glow flickering like a candle in the breeze. Ilara stroked its wool, trying to keep it calm. "Don't worry, little one," she whispered. "We'll figure this out." As they ventured deeper, the forest began to change. The trees, once familiar oaks and maples, now seemed otherworldly, their bark shimmering faintly as though coated in stardust. Strange flowers with glowing petals sprouted along the path, and the air buzzed with the faint hum of unseen energy. Finn stopped abruptly and pointed to a clearing up ahead. "Look!" In the middle of the clearing stood a massive ancient tree, its roots twisting and curling into the ground like the tendrils of a sleeping giant. The tree's trunk was wide enough to house a small cottage, and its branches stretched high into the sky, each one adorned with clusters of glowing, jar-like pods. "This must be a dream tree," Ilara said in awe. Finn's eyes widened. "A dream tree? I thought those were just legends." The dream tree pulsed softly, its glow growing brighter with each pulse, as if it were alive and breathing. The wisp's trail of blue mist led straight to it, curling around the roots and disappearing into one of the pods. "I think it's hiding in there," Ilara said, tightening her grip on the dream net. Finn frowned. "But how do we get it out?" As they approached the tree, a voice echoed from its branches, soft and musical. "Who dares disturb the sanctuary of the dream tree?" Ilara and Finn froze, looking around for the source of the voice. A moment later, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a slender being with translucent wings that shimmered like moonlight. Her hair flowed like a waterfall of silver, and her eyes glowed softly, as if filled with stardust. "I am Silver, the guardian of the dream tree," the figure said, her voice resonating like the whisper of leaves in the wind. "What business do you have here?" Ilara stepped forward hesitantly. "We're sorry to disturb you, Silver. We're trying to catch a mischievous dream wisp that escaped from the old dream collector's workshop. It's hiding in your tree." Silver tilted her head, her expression thoughtful. "A mischievous dream wisp, you say?" "Those are rare and unpredictable. They can bring wonder and chaos in equal measure." Finn nodded vigorously. "Exactly. It's already causing chaos in the village. We need to stop it before things get worse." Silver descended gracefully from the tree, her wings fluttering softly. "The wisp has entered the dream tree's sanctuary, which means it has bonded with a dream pod. Removing it will not be easy, and you risk damaging the balance of dreams if you fail." Ilara bit her lip, her resolve unwavering. "We have to try. We can't let it keep causing trouble." Silver regarded them for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. I will guide you, but the path will not be simple. The dream tree holds many secrets, and you must tread carefully." With a wave of her hand, Silver summoned a glowing path that spiraled up the trunk of the tree, leading to the canopy where the pods hung like lanterns. Elara and Finn followed her up the path, their footsteps echoing softly against the wood. When they reached the canopy, Silver gestured to a pod glowing brighter than the others. "The wisp is within that pod," she said. "But be warned, once you release it, it will try to escape. You must act quickly and decisively." Elara nodded and stepped forward, the dream net in her hands. She reached for the pod, its surface warm and pulsing beneath her fingers. With a deep breath, she pulled it open. The wisp shot out like a bolt of lightning, laughing wildly as it darted through the air. Elara and Finn scrambled to catch it, but the wisp was faster, weaving between the branches with dizzying speed. "Over here!" Finn shouted, swinging his satchel in an attempt to herd the wisp toward Elara. The wisp dodged and swirled, its laughter echoing through the canopy. Elara raised the dream net, her eyes tracking the wisp's erratic movements. "Hold still, you little troublemaker," she muttered. Finally, with a burst of determination, Elara threw the net. The shimmering threads expanded like a web, catching the wisp in midair. The wisp wriggled and squirmed, its glow dimming as the net tightened around it. "We got it!" Elara exclaimed, her heart pounding with relief. But their victory was short-lived. The wisp let out a high-pitched wail, and the entire dream tree trembled. The other pods began to flicker, their contents swirling violently as if disturbed by the wisp's capture. Silver's wings fluttered nervously. "The dream tree is reacting to the imbalance. You must calm the wisp before it disrupts the entire dream network." Elara and Finn exchanged a panicked glance. "Calm it? How?" Finn asked. Silver stepped forward, her voice steady. "Speak to it. Dreams are born of emotions. Joy, fear, curiosity. Find its origin and soothe its chaos." Elara knelt beside the writhing net, her voice soft and steady. "Hey, it's okay. We're not here to hurt you. We just want to help." The wisp stopped struggling for a moment, its glow flickering uncertainly. "Why were you trapped in the workshop?" Elara asked gently. "What happened to you?" The wisp's form shifted, its glow forming a faint image. A child, sitting alone in a dimly lit room, their face etched with sadness. "It was someone's dream," Silver said quietly. "A dream of loneliness and longing, abandoned and forgotten." Elara's heart ached at the sight. "You're not forgotten," she said, her voice filled with compassion. "You're important, just like every other dream. We can help you find your place again." The wisp's glow softened, its form shrinking into a small, trembling ball of light. Elara gently picked it up, cradling it in her hands. "It's okay," she whispered. "We'll take care of you." The dream tree stopped trembling, its pods glowing steadily once more. Silver smiled, her expression warm. "You have done well. The wisp has found peace." Elara and Finn exchanged a relieved glance, their exhaustion melting away in the glow of the dream tree's light. "You still have a journey ahead," Silver said, her voice gentle. "The wisp must be returned to the dream world where it belongs. Follow the path of stardust, and you will find the portal to the dream realm." Elara nodded, determination shining in her eyes. "We'll see it through." With the wisp glowing softly in her hands, the two friends descended the dream tree, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Elara and Finn followed the shimmering trail of stardust deeper into the forest, their steps quickening as the glow grew brighter. The wisp, now calm and nestled in Ilara's hands, pulsed softly like a heartbeat, its warm light illuminating their path. The dream sheep trotted faithfully at their side, its woolly glow adding to the ethereal atmosphere. "Do you think this is it?" Finn whispered, nodding toward the stardust that seemed to flow upward into the sky. "It has to be," Ilara replied, her voice tinged with anticipation. Silver said the portal to the dream realm would be marked by stardust. The stardust swirled ahead of them, forming a spiraling column that stretched toward the heavens. At the base of the column was an ornate archway carved from ancient stone, its surface etched with intricate symbols that shimmered with a faint golden light. Beyond the archway, the air seemed to ripple like water, giving a glimpse of a vast, star-filled expanse on the other side. "This must be the portal," Ilara said, stepping closer. The wisp in her hands quivered slightly, its glow intensifying as if it, too, recognized the significance of the archway. Finn looked at her nervously. "Are you sure we're ready for this? What if there's something dangerous on the other side?" Ilara placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We've come this far, Finn. We can't turn back now. Besides, the wisp is counting on us." Taking a deep breath, the two friends stepped through the archway together, the dream sheep following close behind. As soon as they crossed the threshold, a rush of cool, fragrant air enveloped them. The portal's shimmering surface rippled around them like liquid light before they emerged into the dream realm. The dream realm was a breathtakingly surreal landscape. The ground beneath their feet sparkled like crushed gemstones, and the sky above was a swirling tapestry of colors: indigo, gold, lavender, and deep crimson. Floating islands drifted lazily through the air, each one adorned with glowing plants, waterfalls of liquid light, and creatures that seemed to be made entirely of dreams. "Wow," Finn breathed, turning in a slow circle to take it all in. "This place is incredible." Ilara nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's like nothing I've ever imagined." The wisp in her hands began to glow brighter, tugging gently as if urging her forward. "I think it knows where to go," Ilara said, following the wisp's lead. As they ventured deeper into the dream realm, they encountered strange and enchanting sights. They passed a field of luminous flowers that chimed softly when touched, a river of liquid silver that whispered secrets as it flowed, and a grove of trees whose leaves glowed with the dreams of those sleeping in the waking world. But as they walked, the peaceful ambience began to shift. The air grew colder, and the vibrant colors of the dream realm started to fade, replaced by muted tones of grey and black. The wisp trembled in Ilara's hands, its light flickering uneasily. "I don't like this," Finn muttered, glancing around nervously. "Something feels wrong." Ilara nodded, her grip tightening on the dream net. "Stay close. We don't know what's out here." Suddenly, a deep, resonant voice echoed through the air. "Who dares enter my domain?" The friends froze as a shadowy figure emerged from the mists ahead. It was tall and imposing, its form shifting and swirling like smoke. Its eyes glowed like twin embers, and its voice rumbled like distant thunder. "I am Nyx, keeper of lost dreams," the figure intoned, its gaze fixed on the trembling wisp in Ilara's hands. "Why have you brought this stray into my realm?" Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear prickling at her skin. "We're here to return this dream to its rightful place. It escaped from the Dream Collector's workshop, and we've come to make things right." Nyx's eyes narrowed, and the shadows around it seemed to deepen. "Do you know what you carry, child? This is no ordinary dream. It is a fragment of chaos born from sorrow and fear. To release it, here could upset the balance of the entire dream realm. Finn gulped audibly. Then what are we supposed to do with it? Nyx regarded them for a moment before speaking again. The fragment of chaos can be contained, but only if its essence is purified. To do so, you must venture to the heart of dreams, the source of all dream energy, and face the truth of its creation. The heart of dreams? Elara repeated, her voice tinged with awe. Where is it? Nyx raised a shadowy arm and pointed toward the horizon, where a massive glowing structure loomed in the distance. It looked like a crystalline palace, its spires reaching high into the swirling sky. There, Nyx said. But beware! The heart of dreams will test you. Only those with true courage and compassion can pass its trials. Elara and Finn exchanged a determined glance. We'll do it, Elara said firmly. Nyx's glowing eyes softened slightly. Washi Mari. Ayan. But know this, once you enter the heart of dreams, there is no turning back. You must see it through to the end. With that, the keeper of lost dreams dissolved into the shadows, leaving the path ahead clear. Elara adjusted her grip on the wisp, which now glowed faintly, as if sensing the importance of what lay ahead. Are you ready, Finn? Finn nodded, though his hands trembled slightly. As ready as I'll ever be. Together they set off toward the heart of dreams, the crystalline palace growing larger with each step. The path was steep and winding, and the air grew heavy with anticipation. As they reached the palace gates, they found them guarded by two towering figures made of shimmering light. The guards crossed their glowing spears, blocking the entrance. State your purpose, one of them intoned, their voice echoing like a choir. Elara stepped forward, holding up the wisp. We've come to purify this dream and restore balance to the dream realm. The guard studied her intently before nodding in unison. You may enter, but be warned. The trials within will reveal the deepest truths of your heart. Only those who face them with honesty and bravery will succeed. The gate swung open, revealing a radiant chamber filled with swirling light and pulsating energy. Elara and Finn took a deep breath and stepped inside, the wisp glowing brighter in anticipation. Unbeknownst to them, the trials ahead would test not only their courage, but also the strength of their friendship and the depth of their compassion. The heart of dreams awaited, and the fate of the dream realm hung in the balance. As Elara and Finn stepped out of the radiant chamber of the heart of dreams, they were bathed in a soft golden glow. The dream wisp nestled in Elara's hands now shimmered with a peaceful, steady light, no longer chaotic or restless. The once dazzling spires of the crystalline palace began to dim behind them, returning to their tranquil stillness. We did it, Finn said, his voice filled with relief and wonder. We actually did it. Elara smiled at him, her eyes glistening with pride and exhaustion. I couldn't have done it without you. The path leading back to the dream realm's portal stretched before them, but it no longer felt ominous or foreboding. Instead, it was lined with glowing flowers that swayed gently, as if nodding their approval. The dream sheep trotted alongside them, letting out soft, contented bleats as if celebrating their success. Do you think Nyx will be waiting for us? Finn asked, glancing at the horizon. Elara nodded. I think so. Nyx seemed to care deeply about the balance of this place. I'm sure they'll want to make sure the dream is safely returned. As they walked, the two friends reflected on the trials they had faced in the heart of dreams. I still can't believe the dream's chaos was tied to feelings of loneliness and fear, Finn said softly. It's strange to think something so powerful could come from emotions we all feel sometimes. Elara looked at him thoughtfully. Maybe that's why the Heart of Dreams exists. To remind us that even the most overwhelming feelings can be understood, faced, and transformed into something beautiful. Their conversation was interrupted by the sudden appearance of Nyx, who emerged gracefully from the shadows ahead. The Keeper of Lost Dreams was no longer imposing but carried an air of serene authority. "You have done well," Nyx said, their voice softer than before. "The fragment of chaos is no longer a threat. Its light is now pure thanks to your courage and compassion." Elara stepped forward and held out the glowing wisp. "What happens to it now?" Nyx extended their shadowy hands, cradling the wisp gently. "It will be returned to the Dream Collector's workshop, where it can find its rightful place among the other dreams. Its energy will inspire hope and wonder in the waking world." The Keeper bowed their head slightly. "But before you go, there is one last thing I must do." With a wave of their hand, Nyx summoned a small glowing orb that hovered between Elara and Finn. The orb pulsed with a warm light, and when it burst, a cascade of tiny, shimmering fragments rained down on the two friends. "What's this?" Finn asked, catching one of the fragments in his hand. "A gift," Nyx replied. "The Dream Realm recognizes your bravery and kindness. These fragments will stay with you, reminding you of the strength you discovered within yourselves." Elara and Finn exchanged a grateful look before thanking Nyx, who gave them a rare, gentle smile. "Now," Nyx said, stepping aside and gesturing toward the portal that shimmered in the distance, "it is time for you to return to your world." As they approached the portal, the Dream Realm seemed to bid them farewell. The glowing flowers waved. The river of liquid silver hummed a soft melody, and even the floating islands tilted slightly as if bowing. Elara and Finn paused before stepping through the archway, taking one last look at the mesmerizing landscape. "Do you think we'll ever come back here?" Finn asked wistfully. Elara smiled. "Maybe one day. But even if we don't, I think a part of this place will always stay with us." With that, they stepped through the portal together, the dream sheep trailing behind them. The moment they emerged on the other side, the familiar sights and sounds of the forest greeted them. The workshop loomed ahead, bathed in the soft light of dawn. "We're back," Elara said, her voice tinged with both relief and nostalgia. They made their way to the workshop, where the shelves of dream jars sparkled faintly in the morning light. Elara carefully placed the purified wisp back into its jar, which now radiated a warm, golden glow. "It looks happy," Finn observed, watching the wisp pulse gently within its jar. Elara nodded. "It feels like it belongs here now." As they stepped back, the Dream Collector's workshop seemed to hum with quiet approval, as if the space itself recognized the restoration of balance. Suddenly, the dream sheep bleated softly, drawing their attention. It stood by the door, its glowing eyes fixed on them. "I think it's time for us to leave," Elara said, patting the sheep's woolly head. They stepped out into the fresh morning air, the first rays of sunlight filtering through the trees. The world felt brighter, as though the events of the dream realm had left a lingering magic in their own. As they walked back toward the village, they talked about the adventure they had shared. "You know," Finn said, "this all started because we were curious about the workshop. It's funny how something so small can lead to something so big." Elara laughed. "I guess that's the magic of curiosity. you never know where it will take you. As they reached the edge of the village, they paused to take in the peaceful scene before them. The houses were just beginning to stir, with smoke curling lazily from chimneys and the faint sound of birdsong in the air. "Do you think anyone will believe us?" Finn asked, a grin tugging at the corners of his mouth. Ilara smirked. "Probably not, but that's okay. Some stories are meant to be ours alone." They shared a laugh before heading to their respective homes, each carrying a fragment of the dream realm's magic in their hearts. That evening, as Ilara lay in bed, she held one of the shimmering fragments from the Nix's gift in her hand. It glowed faintly, filling her room with a soft, comforting light. As she drifted off to sleep, she thought about the dream realm and the incredible journey she and Finn had undertaken. Somewhere far beyond the stars, the heart of dreams pulsed with quiet energy, and the wisp they had saved glowed peacefully in its jar. Ilara smiled as her eyelids grew heavy. The dream realm might be far away, but its magic was always within reach, waiting to be discovered by those with the courage to believe. And with that, she fell into a deep, dream-filled sleep, her heart full of wonder and her mind at peace. Welcome back, little dreamers. You've travelled far on this wondrous adventure, and now it's time to rest. Let's gently close our eyes and sink into the soft, warm embrace of your bed. Feel how cozy and safe you are, just like Ilara and Finn in the dream realm. Take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out. Let's do that again. Breathe in deeply. Hold it for a moment and now let it all out. Let's do one more. Breathe in, filling your chest with peaceful energy. And now exhale, letting go of any worries or tiredness. You're safe, you're loved, and you're exactly where you need to be. Now, let's imagine we're walking through a beautiful, quiet forest at night. The air is cool and the ground beneath your feet is soft and mossy. Look up. What do you see? The sky is dark and endless, sprinkled with shimmering stars that twinkle like tiny lanterns. Just like Ilara and Finn, we're surrounded by the magic of the night. Feel the stillness around you. It's as though the entire forest is holding its breath, waiting for the dreams to begin. Let the calmness fill your heart. As you walk further into the forest, you notice a soft glow ahead. It's the Dream Collector's workshop, its windows glowing with a golden light that seems to call to you. Step closer and peek inside. Can you see the shelves filled with glowing jars? Each one holds a dream, waiting to be set free. Some dreams sparkle like diamonds, while others glow with soft, calming light. Imagine your very own jar on one of those shelves. What would your dream look like? Maybe it's filled with stars or the soft colours of a sunset. Let's take another deep breath together. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, imagine that jar glowing brighter, filling your heart with peace and joy. Now, as we lie here in the warmth of our beds, let's remind ourselves of a few important truths. Repeat these quietly in your mind, or just listen and let the words fill you with comfort. I am safe. I am calm. I am at peace. I am loved just as I am. My dreams are magical and they bring me joy. I can be brave even when things feel uncertain. My imagination is powerful and it helps me create wonderful things. I am kind, I am caring, and I make the world brighter. Rest is good for me and I deserve to relax. As you think about these affirmations, feel how your body becomes even heavier, sinking deeper into the softness of your bed. Your arms are relaxed, your legs are relaxed, and your whole body feels warm and weightless, like a cloud. Now, let's go on one more little adventure before we drift off to sleep. Imagine that you are standing in the dream realm, just like Ilara and Finn. The ground beneath your feet sparkles like crushed gemstones, and the air around you shimmers with soft golden light. Look up at the sky. It's a swirling canvas of indigo, silver, and violet. Floating islands drift lazily through the air, glowing with soft light and covered in beautiful, dream-like plants. One of the islands floats gently toward you, as if inviting you to step on. Take a small step forward and feel the island rise beneath your feet. It carries you higher and higher, closer to the stars. Now, you're surrounded by dreams, soft, glowing shapes that float gently through the air. They look like bubbles, shimmering with different colors. As one floats towards you, you realize it's a dream meant just for you. Reach out and touch it. What does it feel like? Is it warm, soft, or tingly? As you hold the dream in your hands, it glows brighter, filling you with a wonderful feeling of peace and happiness. The dream begins to whisper to you, its voice as gentle as a breeze. It tells you a story, one that only you can hear. Maybe it's a story about a magical forest, a brave adventure, or a cozy cabin filled with love. Let yourself listen to the story as it wraps around you like a warm blanket. This dream is yours, and it's here to remind you of how special and loved you are. Now, as the dream settles into your heart, let's take a moment to feel the sounds around us. Imagine the soft rustling of leaves in the forest, the gentle babbling of a brook, and the occasional chirp of a sleepy bird. Listen closely. Can you hear the tinkling sound of the dream jars in the workshop? They hum softly, a soothing melody that fills the air with calm. Feel your breathing slow even more. Breathe in the peacefulness of the dream realm, and breathe out any lingering worries. Let them drift away like tiny clouds, fading into the starry sky. Final affirmations and transition to sleep. As we prepare to drift into sleep, let's remind ourselves one last time of the magic we carry within us. I am safe, surrounded by love and peace. My dreams are full of wonder and joy. I'm strong, brave, and kind. Rest will fill me with energy and happiness for tomorrow. Feel the warmth of your bed, the softness of your pillow, and the gentle rhythm of your breath. Everything around you is quiet and still, just as it should be. Imagine yourself lying on a soft, glowing cloud floating gently through the night sky. The stars twinkle above you, and the dream realm stretches out below, its magic keeping you safe and cozy. With your eyes closed and your heart full of peace, let yourself sink deeper and deeper into sleep. Let your dreams take you on adventures as wonderful and magical as Ilara and Finn's journey. Good night, little dreamer. Sleep well, and remember that the magic of dreams is always within you. Rest deeply, and when you wake, you'll be ready for a new day filled with wonder and joy. Sweet dreams. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.